You were alluding to the fact that sometimes you don't need some deliberate action or policy, that somehow in a subtle way you can kickstart all of that by injecting more. That is in your answer to Marque's question. Could you continue on your train of thought?
Right. Thank you very much. As I was saying, I think the challenge of foreign exchange is one of scarcity. When there is a scarcity, the price of that product or item will typically increase. When there are multiplicity of exchange rates, then you create room for arbitrage.
That's what we have now.
That's what we have. So Marque was alluding to a special price for importers of petroleum products. You know, there is an interbank rate, there is a black market rate, and so on and so forth. Now, my view is that there should be one consistent market, one consistent rate. The Central Bank of Nigeria partially allowed the naira to float against convertible currencies, but they continued to remain a significant player in that market. So the central bank really did not let go of the levers and was essentially still controlling the market simply because it was the primary supplier of foreign exchange into that market. My sense is that the naira should be allowed to fully and freely float. Now, it means in the short term that we'll probably see an even deeper devaluation, but ultimately, once there is confidence in the foreign exchange market, once there is confidence around the policies of government, then you will start to see foreign exchange from alternative sources starting to come into the economy. The challenge we have now is that we are only focused essentially on crude oil receipts as our singular or most significant source of foreign exchange. So a black market will always exist once there is this kind of uncertainty, once there is a scarcity, once there are certain products that cannot access official dollars. Fortunately, the Minister of Finance has said there is going to be a review of that ban of 41 items, and we're going to move from administrative processes or restrictions to fiscal ones. So let anybody that wants to buy dollar, let them buy their dollar, use it to import whatever they want to import. Let there be proper tariff structures in place, just so that we can protect the local industries as well as discourage wanton importation. So there is a lot that needs to be done to strengthen that market.
Marque.
Yes, you were talking about, you know, the fact that these distortions will always exist. But then, you know, you also mentioned the fact that in the short term there will be implications. Are these implications that we can afford? Because recall that when this debate was first of all on, you know, before we entered the recession, you know, there was a very heavy debate on FOREX. Is this something that we can afford now that we are in a recession?
Thank you, Marque. My view, and I have shared this on this program in the past, there are certain times when you need to be decisive. There are certain times when you need to take immediate decisions. Now, there is always a potential downside to every decision. There are always two sides to it, but one must always have a medium to long-term view. My view is that if the naira had been fully liberalized sometime in June, we would have seen a depreciation, but ultimately, as soon as the supply, as soon as confidence returns to that market, the supply and the stock of foreign exchange coming into Nigeria would have increased significantly. Now, we did not do that. We only went maybe halfway or 60 or 70% of the way. What that has done now is that we have suffered a devaluation, but we have not fully we have not really benefited from the positives. And the positives should have been that there should have been an increased inflow of foreign currencies into Nigeria. But because it was not fully done, a lot of those sources of foreign exchange have decided to still hold on to their money economies because they are not fully sure about where we're going. Where are we today? I understand that the black market is currently at 490 odd, and it is depreciating almost on a daily or weekly basis. So it means that we are being hit. It's like a double whammy. We have not gotten the benefit of devaluation, but yet the currency continues to suffer more and more. So I would rather take the bullet once and for all and let the market then build up in an orderly manner and let our national currency begin to strengthen. That is what should have happened.
The question I will ask you, would you encourage a free floating currency in a market that is import dependent?
Yes, the government has to come up with multiple policies. So I take the point, and this has been the position of Mr. President from the very beginning. He had always said, if we allow the naira to be devalued, because we are largely import dependent, the economy will suffer. Inflation will go up and all of that. We recognize that. But we also, our response, the market's response at the time was that we were already between the devil and the deep blue sea. There was no decision we took that will not come with pain. What we said is, let us be deliberate about the type of pain we want to receive, when we want to receive the pain, take it once and for all, and have an opportunity to grow. Now, my sense is this: there is no easy way out. If a devaluation or a further devaluation should come as a result of a fully deregulated or liberalized foreign exchange market, one of the things government should do to support that is for the Ministry of Trade and Investment, for example, to come up with a robust tariff structure to ensure that local industries, anything that can be produced in Nigeria, if somebody wants to import it into Nigeria, they must have to pay a significant tariff. So if it should cost you 10 naira, government should come up with a tariff 50%, 100%, just to try and discourage the import, not by starving them of foreign exchange, but by saying when you arrive at the various ports of entry into Nigeria, we're going to slam you a particular tariff, so that when you come into Nigeria, you must sell your product at a particular price that will give the local manufacturers an opportunity to compete with you. So I think it has to be a multiple approach from government. So it's not just one and leave the other. So as we are deregulating the currency, we must bring in tariffs and restrictions to protect the local industries.
Let me take you back a bit. When you said something about, you said earlier that there will always be a black market. But then the CBN, an official of CBN, was quoted as saying they're going to work out ways to de-emphasize the black market. Is that why they're looking towards the Bitcoin?
Well, thank you very much. I think the ways, and when I read the statement from the CBN, or was it the minister, initially I was alarmed. I thought it was a continuation of sending security agencies to go and start chasing people all over the streets. But on closer reading, I saw that they were planning to come up with policies. Now, the most critical policy we need today in order to whittle the significance of the black market today is to increase supply. Why is the black market under this pressure? It is because the average user of foreign exchange cannot go to a licensed bank in Nigeria and have their foreign currency requirements met. So they have to go to an alternative market to try and augment. And that is why the naira continues to depreciate, even to 490. So my sense is this: if government comes up with policies that encourages significant inflow of foreign exchange. So we talk about the diaspora remittances, for example. You talked about growing non-oil exports so that we can generate additional FX revenues from other sources beyond oil. We talk about making our economy more competitive, having clear policies and processes so that foreign investors, foreign direct investments can come into Nigeria. Foreign portfolio investors can come into Nigeria. So there are multiple sources of foreign exchange. So what I believe the CBN may be alluding to is we want to make our market friendlier. We want to make our foreign exchange policy more flexible so that all of these sources who are currently staying away from Nigeria will will now be encouraged to bring in their funds.
And now that you have mentioned the CBN, perhaps let's talk more about the CBN, because if you look at it, you just talked about Nigerians living in diaspora, how much of currency they remit to the country, which has greatly helped the nation. But if you look at what is happening, the CBN, for instance, would you say they have been doing the supervisory roles within the banking sector? If you say the black market should go, many still ask the question how they get their funding, some of the black marketers. I can't approach my banker and say I need Forex, and I can get it on the approved government rate. Is either I'm getting it also on the black market rate. If you travel outside Nigeria, you swipe your card, your same bank is also a black marketer, because the exchange rate is on the black market. And these are some of the things we see. And we have the CBN there, and people talk, and these are facts that you can check in the books and see what has been deducted off your account. And it doesn't seem as anything is being done on that.
Thank you very much. I believe that the CBN could have done a lot better with foreign exchange management. I think that the CBN has a role. They are the managers of monetary policy, and their critical objective is achieving price stability, whether it is exchange rate, whether it is inflation, whether it is interest rates. On every front, in my view, the CBN has not done well. Inflation is at 18.5. Lending rates in the banking industry has gone in excess of 30%. How many businesses can borrow at 30% and use those monies productively and have the capacity to pay back? They have also not done well in terms of managing the foreign exchange rate. It is 490 in the black market, and we have this multiple official rates that the CBN has. My view is that the CBN needs to take a step back. It needs to study the market. It needs to engage with various stakeholders, the users of foreign exchange, other policymakers, influencers in the market, and let everybody sit down and come up with a plan and a strategy. What we have today is creating opportunity for individuals to make stupendous wealth, because you can get funds at the official rate and sell in any of the other markets that we have and earn for yourself a very, very significant premium. So my view is that the CBN needs to be clear, and the easiest way to do this is fully liberalize this market. We are not saying that CBN must have no role to play in foreign exchange management, but set the rules, monitor the players, ensure compliance, and as much as possible, because you are the banker to government, you will still be a major supplier of foreign exchange into that market, but you are just one of multiple sources of foreign exchange. So do not discourage the others, because that is what the action of the CBN is actually delivering today. A lot of prospective funders of that market are waiting on the sidelines.
Bayo, financial market expert. Good a place to wrap up this segment. Many thanks for being here on Sunrise Daily.